Okay, here's your rotations foldable. This is going to go onto page 36 in your notebook. You're going to add rotations to your table of contents on line Q. So add rotations, page 36 to line Q of your table of contents. Okay, so we've already done rotations. So this one, take a look at the picture. We could add some notes to it. When we look at this picture, remember when you rotate, they have to tell you a point to rotate it around. And then you're going to be spinning. And remember, it's going to be like the same distance away. So you're basically swinging it. Actually, this one goes the other direction because you can see this one right here is going to be your pre-image. And this one here is going to be your image, right? So actually, it took it from here and went this way. And it's always going to have to tell you how many degrees. So that's what all of this stuff down below talks about. It says a rotation is a transformation that rotates each point. So we know we're going to rotate each point in the pre-image about a point P, which is called the center of rotation. And it's going to give you the measure in degrees of how far to go. And most of the time, it'll tell you the direction to go also, whether you're going to go clockwise or counterclockwise. Remember, the default is counterclockwise. Okay, and then it gives you some more things. Don't forget the orientation is preserved. It's going to be the same size and shape, so it is a rigid motion. So the length and angle measures are going to be exactly the same. Remember, if you move something and then you look at it and it doesn't look the same size or shape, then go back and double check. Okay? So let's look. We have some rules. Actually, we should underline this right here because remember, note that the rotation is counterclockwise. I said it, but make sure you do underline. It's going to be counterclockwise if they don't tell you which direction to go. So if they don't say clockwise or counterclockwise, then go counterclockwise. Oopsies, and there goes my screen. Oh, there it comes back. Okay, so these are our rules, and we talked about all of these rules, so you might want to highlight these rules. So this right here is a counterclockwise. Of 90 degrees. So we're taking this point and moving it counterclockwise 90 degrees. So here is our, you might want to highlight this. Here's our rule. The next one is going to be 180 degrees. And remember, it doesn't matter which direction you go because you're going to land halfway across the circle either way, rotation. So we have our rule here. Make sure you highlight this rule. You're going to change just the signs, but you don't flip-flop the location of X, Y. And then the last one is the 90 degrees clockwise. Now remember, 90 degrees clockwise is the same as 270 degrees counterclockwise. Because if you have a clock, I start, say, here. If I go 90 degrees clockwise, that's going to put me right here, right? But that would be the exact same thing as going 270 counterclockwise. It's going to put you in the exact same spot. So this is the same as 270 counterclockwise. So that's why it says it like this. And we have a formula for that. We already did these formulas on our practice paper, but we don't have them in our notebook yet. So make sure you have those 3 formulas for 90 degrees. And remember, if they give you the 270, it doesn't matter, just go the opposite direction. 270 is 3/4 of the way around, going the other way. Okay, go ahead and open your foldable up. Example number 1. We have the vertices of triangle XYZ are, and they give us all of these vertices. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put them on my graph so that I know where they are. So take a minute. You can pause the video if you want and graph them. We have X is at -4, +6. So that's here. Label him X. Y is at 0, 5. That's Y. And Z is at 2, -1. So that's here. And I'm going to make my triangle. It says it's a triangle, so you should definitely connect them. Okay, so that's the triangle I'm working with. Remember to try to use some different colors. So this is Z down here. Okay, it says what are the vertices of, if I were to do a rotation, so this means rotation, 180 degrees. And this O stands for the origin. So we know 180-degree rotation. Our rule says we're going to take our XY on the front of your cover, and we're going to do what to it? 180 degrees, it's going to be -X, comma -Y. So if we knew the coordinates of our XYZ, which we do, right up here, they're highlighted yellow, all we have to change them is to the opposite signs. So I'm going to take these guys right here. I'm going to change all their signs. So that's going to make my X prime be at +4, -6. It's going to make my Y prime be at 0, because you can't change the sign of 0, and -5. And it's going to take my Z prime to be opposites. It's going to be a -2 and a +1. So we changed the sign of all of these, changed the sign of all of those. So I'm going to go ahead and put those on my graph now. I'm going to do this guy in orange. So 4, -6 is over 4 down 6. That's here. This is my new X single prime. And my Y is at 0, -5. That's here. That is going to be Y prime. And my Z is going to be at -2, 1. So back 2, up 1. That's going to be my Z prime. And make my triangle. Make sure he looks like he's the same size and shape. He looks like he is spun about halfway around a circle, so I think he looks good. Remember, if he looks weird, then redo him. Okay, what are the vertices of this is a rotation. 270 degrees counterclockwise. Because it doesn't say which way, right? Clockwise. Counterclockwise. So that means if I'm thinking about my graph, if I start here and go 270 degrees, that's 90 plus 90 plus 90, that's 90, 90, 90. So right here is my 270, right? And so that is the same as going 90 degrees clockwise, right? So I do have a formula for 90 degrees clockwise. So what is my formula for 90 degrees clockwise? That means I'm going to take my XY, 90 degrees clockwise. That's going to change me to a Y, comma, -X. So that means my Y and my X change places, and I change the sign of whatever this X was, right? Because he needs to be changed, but they are flip-flopped. So I need to take my points. These are my points I'm using now, right? I'm going to take these points, and I'm going to write off to the right-hand side, but obviously you're going to have to probably, depending on how big you wrote, you'll be able to write down here if you need space. So I'm going to take each one of these. I'm going to pick a new color. What color did I not use yet? Let's go red. Okay, so I'm going to apply this formula here that says I'm going to take X, Y, and I'm going to change it to Y, comma, -X. That's what I'm doing right here. Okay, so that's going to change into this, right? So that means, put my parentheses, that means I'm going to take my Y and put it in the Y spot at the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to take my Y, which is right here and here and here. And I'm just going to recopy it. -6, -5, and +1. Okay. Then I'm going to take my X, and I'll put him over here, but I'm going to change his sign. So I got to take all of my X's, him and him and him, and I got to change the sign of all of those. So that's going to make a -4 over here. Change the sign of 0, still 0. Change the sign of -2, that makes a +2. So these are going to be my new points for my X double prime, Y double prime, and Z double prime. So let's put them on the graph and see if we made any mistakes. So I'm going to go -6, -4. That's down here. This is going to be my X double prime. I got to go -5, 0. So that's -5, 0. That's right here. That is going to be my Y double prime. And Z is going to be 1, 2. So he's going to be over here. This is going to be my Z double prime. I'm going to draw my triangle. Whoopsie, a little bit crooked. See if all my triangles look like they're the same size and shape. They do. And he looks beautiful. So I don't have to double check. Remember, if the shape does not look right, then go back. Okay, number 2. Okay, we want to trace this diagram and rotate it 180 degrees about Q. So grab any old patty paper that you have or any piece of paper that you have near you. Remember, you might have to make this darker. If you don't have patty paper, if you're taking a real test, just go over the lines and make it nice and dark. I'm going to rotate around Q. I want 180 degrees, which means I'm taking this. Think of this as a half circle. So if I were to connect this, right? Think about this as 180 degrees. So think about this line continuing this way. And I want to go 180 degrees around. It's going to be the same distance. So whatever this distance is here, I got to go this same distance on the other side when I swing it around. It's going to end up over here, right? So my G prime is going to be here, right? If I go 180, swing this guy 180, he's going to end up, obviously I'm on my board, so I can't trace, but it's going to end up looking something like this. He's going to be more pointed. No, it's going to be like that. So if you swing him around, label all your vertices. I'm not going to even try to do it on the board. So you trace it, spin it, and label all your things with your primes, and then you should be good. You should be able to make that sketch. When you swing him around, he's going to end up being upside down, right? Okay. I'm going to trust you can trace and do that yourself. Okay, number 3. We have a diagram that shows ABC. It says if it's rotated 180 degrees about the origin, what are the coordinates of A after the rotation? So if it's A after the rotation, then that means they were asking for A prime, right? So make sure you read what it says. So it's A after you do it. So we need 180 degrees. 180 degrees. So what's our rule for that? That means we take XY. Oopsie. Should do a little arrow there. Take our XY. And he's going to change into, remember, for 180, you keep everything exactly in the same location. You just change the sign of both of them. So that means I'm going to change this. Coordinates are over 1, 2, 3, up 2. So this is 3, 2. I'm going to go ahead and do them all. B is going to be over 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 1, 4. And C is -2. +1. Okay, so they just want to know about the coordinates of A. Now here's the deal. If I'm taking a test, I'm probably going to do all of the coordinates so that way I could see what the shape looks like. So, but for this question, I technically only have to do this, but it's going to be hard for you to check if you made a mistake if you don't graph the whole triangle. So I'm going to change the sign of both of them because the rule says change the sign of both. So my new A prime should be at -3, -2. So this should be my new A prime at -3, -2. So it should be down here for my new A prime. So you can do the whole triangle. You can pause the video, do the whole triangle if you want, and see if it ends up there. You can also do some things with visualizing. So if you look at the origin here, you see how far that is and how far that is. You see how these two look the same length? And they do make 180 degrees here. So it looks like my A prime is good. But in my notebook, I actually did the entire shape. But I'm not going to do it in this picture because this picture will be way too busy because we have to do a couple things to it. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to undo some of these lines. Okay, let's go ahead and look at B. My thing's doing weird stuff. Let's look at B. It says if it is rotated 90 degrees clockwise about the origin, what are the coordinates of the image of B? So an image, remember, is the second picture. So they are once again asking for B prime. So don't just look at this B. Image of means that I want the B prime. Okay, so I want to do 90 degrees clockwise. So my formula for 90 degrees clockwise is take my XY, and I want to, remember the 90-degree ones are when you switch places of these two. So I'm going to put the Y first and the X second. And the 90-degree clockwise says I'm going to be making the X be negative. Okay, so I only have to deal with B. Now, once again, if I'm taking a test, I'm going to do this whole triangle and redraw it and make sure I'm good. Okay, but since I'm just doing my notes, I'm just going to worry about B right now. So my B coordinates are currently 1, 4. And I want to convert those using this formula. So that means I want to trade places. So trade places, so that means the 4 is first and the 1 is second, right? And I want the X to be the opposite sign, right? So this was my X, and so this is my X, so I want them to be the opposite sign. So I'm going to change this to a -1, which means my B is going to be at 4, -1 for my B prime. So I think this is my answer. Let's put it on the graph. B is at 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, -1. That's here. This is going to be my B prime. So let's see if this makes sense. Okay, here's my old B and my new B, right? Is it the same distance from the origin from here to here? It looks like it's the same distance. And my other question is, does this look like it's 90 degrees clockwise? It does. So I think my shape is good. Now, obviously, once again, if you're doing a test, I would do all 3 points and do it. And if you look at my notebook, I have all of them done in my notebook. So I would definitely pause the video and try to do all of the shapes, all of the things. Okay, the last one says, what are the coordinates of C prime after this? So this is a rotation. Remember, this is default to be counterclockwise because it doesn't say. So this is counterclockwise. 90 degrees. And this stands for origin. So we are spinning around the origin. So my rule for 90 degrees counterclockwise is I'm going to change my XY. Remember, the 90-degree ones are when you flip-flop the Y and the X. So I change places, and then counterclockwise makes you change the sign of the Y. Okay, so I need the point of C. So C is currently at -2, 1. It's currently at -2, 1. And I'm going to apply this rule to it. So that means I'm going to change places. So I'm going to put the 1 first and then -2 second. Change places. And then I need the Y value over here. This Y, I need to change the sign. So here, right here is the Y. I need to change that sign. So that means that I'm going to have to change the 1 to a negative. And so my new C prime is going to be right here. Let's put it on the graph, -1, -2. So that's back -1, down 2. That's right here. So let's see what we have. Pick a new color. I'll do pink. So look at the origin. So look there and there. Does that look like it's a 90-degree? That looks like a 90-degree angle to me. Counterclockwise rotation. It sure does. So that looks good. Once again, I would pause and draw the whole triangle so you could practice. The last one, we have ABC is given. Says, what are the coordinates of B prime after ABC is rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise about A? Now here, hello, we are rotating around A, 90 degrees counterclockwise. So that means we are not rotating around the center. So this is when you have to kind of make a fake axis at A. So let me draw a fake axis at A. Where's A? Is right here. See my fake axis I'm drawing? So right here, you need a fake axis. Because we're not spinning around the origin. Okay, that means we are taking this A and spinning it 90 degrees counterclockwise. So we are taking this triangle and going 90 degrees counterclockwise. So he's going to be coming up this way now, right? Got to spin him up like that. All right? Okay. So you could do this a couple different ways. You could do new fake numbering and get your things, or you can imagine what he would look like if you were to rotate him. So if I were to spin him, let me pick a new color here. If I were to spin him, A prime would stay in the same spot, right? Because you're basically stabbing down this A. So A prime is going to be here. Okay. If I'm spinning this totally sideways, what's he going to look like? Can you picture that he's going to look like this if you spin him 90 degrees? Can you see that? Now remember, you can take him and give some ordered pairs. So you could think from your new axis, he is, this B is over. This is fake numbers right now. If this is over 2 and down 2, right? So if you can't picture this or you can't trace it and spin it, think where he would be. Over 2, down 2 for 90 degrees counterclockwise. That means I'm taking X, Y, and I'm changing them into -Y, X, right? So you're picturing this Y to be changing. When you were if you were to apply that rule to this guy, he would become switch places, right? And then I'm going to be changing the Y. So you're going to be changing the value of this. So it's going to be +2, +2, counterclockwise. Oh shoot, this is clockwise. Undraw that. This is counterclockwise is going to be over here. My bad. Erase that. It's not this guy over here. I should X him out in red. Sorry. We're doing counterclockwise, so that means we should be coming up this way. So yeah, 2, 2. Good thing I did it this way. 2, 2. So that means this B point is going to be coming up here to a B prime. And actually, that's the only point we need, right? We only need the coordinates of B. So here's the deal. I think if you're going to rotate around something that's not the origin, I think your best bet is, if you can't visualize it, it's going to be to try to trace it and spin it with a regular piece of scrap paper. Okie dokie, if they don't give you your patty paper. I better erase all this hot mess of stuff going on over here. Okay, my board is going crazy right now. Okay, there it goes. It didn't like me making these mistakes. Okay, let's see if we could try the other one. Says, what are the coordinates of the image of C? So we want the image of C. Image of C. So what's the image of C? That means C prime. After it is rotating 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, now I'm about to do clockwise. So I can go ahead and redraw what I had drawn before. 9 degrees clockwise. That's going to put this yellow guy spun over here this way, right? So it's going to be putting it over in this area. So that means I'm going to be taking each of my points. So this C is going to end up here, right? 90 degrees. So his new location is going to be back 1, 2, up 1, 2, 3. So 2, comma 3. From this B right here, B. Oh, we want the coordinates of B. So B is going to be up here. We never even answered that one. That's 1. Wait, here's the regular axis. Wait, I got to count from the regular axis. Oh my goodness gracious. I got to erase all this stuff. Let's start this. Okay, so everyone will be able to picture where it is. These notes are a hot mess. Okay, let's draw. Let's draw this one in green. This one's going to be in green, okay? So when we moved this one, he went right here, right? So they wanted to do the coordinates of B prime. So our B prime, if we went up here, this would be our B prime. So this is going to be at 1, 1, 2, 3. So the answer to our new B prime is at 1, comma 3. Okay, let's do this one in red. So if we went clockwise, that's coming up this way. So it's going to look like this. So our C is going to be coming up here. So this is going to be our new C prime. And so that's going to be at the point negative 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So negative 3, 3 is going to be our new C prime. C prime is going to be at negative 3, comma 3. Okay, I hope you followed that because I made a mess of that one. So here's the deal. When you, if you want to try to do the fake axis, you might have some fake coordinates that you have to make sure you convert back to normal. Because remember, our XY axis is here and here. So when you give your final answers here and here, make sure you use points that are on the real graph, not the fake axis. Okay, this is getting glued onto page 36. Make sure you finish and glue on page 36.